What's up, everybody? This is Chris from Chris Eats and Travels. So, you guys might notice I am not out getting food today. I'm actually at home, and I'm going to show you how to make the best tasting ribs ever. So, let's get to it, and let's get to eating. All right. So, we've got these pork spare ribs. That's what we're going to be working on today. Got these at Costco Business. They're $2.99 a pound. Highly recommend these over any sort of baby backs or anything like that. I think baby backs were $3.99 a pound, and these will give you a whole lot more meat. They're going to be much more substantial. You're going to get way more for your money's worth. Get these way better ribs than baby backs. All right, let's cut into these. Set these aside. Whew. Bear through the sniffles with me. It's cold out here this morning. First of all, make sure you got a nice sharp knife. Pat them nice and dry. All right, so there's going to be a few minutes of butchery required, and really you're cutting off just little excess pieces of meat. And we're not throwing anything really away other than tiny scraps, like these little pieces of fat. I'm going to cut those off in a bit, but most of this you're going to be able to kind of use for other stuff. You can use it soups, stocks, really like this. You can even just grill it up separately. Just doesn't work for ribs. It'll probably end up burning most of the time. So most of that stuff, I just keep a separate bowl. Toss that stuff there. Any of these little scraggly bits of fat. All right, not going to worry too much about this side. And you're going to hear people say, remove the membrane, score the membrane, whatever. I really don't care. Most of that stuff's going to cook down. All right, but I am going to look for, there's little tiny small ribs over on this side. I'm going to cut those off. Those aren't going to be much good to us. Just feel around for them right around there. Cut those off. All right. Now, you can just go straight across here, and you'll end up with just a nice rectangle piece. I'm not going to do that, but I'm just going to kind of round this off, give myself really meaty ribs. And then just cut off little scraggly bits. All right, and then you got these little corner pieces. Just cut those right off. Those will end up burning once you grill it up, smoke it. A lot of times you'll end up with kind of a piece right there. And that piece is going to be hard to render down, that fat right there. A scraggly piece. All right. And really, that piece is done. Okay. And on to the next one. Cut off this skirt steak right here. And so all I'm using is just a 6-inch boning knife. This thing's, I think it was $20 on Amazon. Great knife. I'll put a link in. I'll put a link in the description. Um, I've had this probably for about 2 months. I haven't sharpened it once. I just toss it on the honing steel every time I use it. Stays nice and sharp. If it ever does go dull, I probably won't even sharpen it. I might end up just buying a separate one or buying a new one. All right. Again, not going to do too much work. Don't care about that membrane. And then find those little tiny bones, cut those off. And then there's that piece of meat over on this side. Yeah, I'm cutting this one off just because it doesn't render out all that great. But you can definitely use that for other stuff. Sausages, you can use it for stews, whatever you want. And really, if you wanted, you could just leave that on there. I prefer to take it off. Okay. All right. And then again, just gonna clean it up right at the top. Oh, and that's it. Little piece of cartilage right there. Chop that off. All right, that's it. And then now we can season it. All right, so I like to start with just well, let's start on the bone side. Start with a nice heavy coating of black pepper. And this is just coarse black ground pepper. Again, this is the bone side, so you don't have to be too careful with it. A lot of it will end up coming off once you toss it on the smoker. All right, and then some kosher salt. Season it nice and high, get an even coating. Then granulated garlic, not garlic powder. Garlic powder is a little too fine. Just give it a nice dusting. Pat it, don't rub it. You'll end up with clumps all over your ribs. All right, then again, black pepper. This side, I will give it a much more thorough coating, a much thicker coating. This is what everybody calls the presentation side. So just make sure this side looks good. This side has much more meat also. Make sure you don't leave any bald spots. All right. And again, the salt. And these aren't super thick ribs, so you don't have to completely cover them with salt. Like, you don't want to over season them, but they're thick enough that you don't have to really worry too much about it. They're pretty forgiving. Little layer of garlic or granulated garlic again. All right, now just let it sit. Let it sit for at least 15 minutes. If you can give it a little longer, even better. Say, give it up to an hour if you can. All right, and we'll be back in a bit. So it's been roughly 20-30 minutes. Ribs are starting to get a little bit tacky. You can see it's gotten a little bit of a shine to it. Put on some gloves here. So in the meantime, I've been getting the fire ready. It's sitting at right around 220, and the smoker's kind of interesting. I'll show you guys in a bit. But so these are ready to get on the fire. All right, so I don't know if you guys can see that. So the smoker is not that big. There's from front to back, which is where I've got the probes. There's about 40-degree difference, which is kind of crazy. It's about, I would say, 1.5 foot difference from the front to the back, but we're gonna deal with that. All right, that angle seems to work. Let me go grab the ribs. All right, so ignore what's already in the pit. All right, so again, there's a big difference in the heat from front to back, but let's get these ribs on there. Oh. All right, so knowing that there's a hot zone in the back, I'm gonna throw the fatter side in the back. Make sure there's a little bit of a gap in there so the smoke can go through. Also, hot zone on the right, little bit hotter towards the left also. Best area kind of right in the middle, but so hot zone there, hot zone there, hot zone all the way in the back. Best area is kind of right in this middle zone. So just make sure you really figure out your smoker. The more you cook on it, the better you're gonna figure it out. But right now we're trying to keep this right around 225 to anywhere between the 225 275 zone. I'm gonna keep that closed for probably the next 2 hours. Ignore it. Don't even open that. The more you open it, the more you're gonna mess with your cook. All we're trying to figure out is the temperature, manage that fire, make sure that that fire is going and it's staying within the temperature range that you're looking for. That's all I care about. All right. So I'm gonna keep managing that fire for the next 2 hours. Do not walk away at least for the first hour. That's gonna be the most important time. All right. So I will see you guys back in about 2 hours. So just a real quick check-in. This is at the top of the pit. So the top's sitting at about 300. This side, where I said, there's a little bit of a hot spot over here, but it's sitting right around 230. This side, just because it's next to the firebox, is sitting much hotter. It's sitting right around 330. A couple things that we're looking for. There's not smoke coming out of this. Very seldom should you ever see anything coming out of there. If I open up the firebox, I actually want to see flames in this firebox, right? Those flames are going to kill the bad smoke. You want to see a nice clean burn coming out of there. All right. If you lose those flames, you're going to be in for some really bad tasting barbecue. All right. So toss some more wood in there. If you start losing those flames, you might see this temperature shoot up a little bit. All right. Close that off. So again, your temperatures are going to fluctuate. We're still trying to keep it anywhere from 225 to 275. All right. So just keep an eye on your fire. Again, don't go anywhere for the first hour. That's the most important time of your smoke. All right. I'm going to give you guys a little secret. I've been walking away from the barbecue. I'm going to show you guys a little something. and I kind of gave you guys a little sneak peek of it earlier. Let me turn this thing around. It's pretty awesome. All right, so I showed you this earlier. These were the probes that I had inside the pit. So it's a Thermo Pro, and it actually has 4 probes. I've only got 2 of them connected right now. You can either stuff them inside your meat. Yes, I said that. Or it comes with a couple mounts that you can put inside the barbecue or inside your smoker. This thing's wireless, and it comes with an app that connects to your phone. So I've been walking around the house. I've been making sauces. I've been doing all sorts of stuff. And so I haven't had to actually just be right next to my smoker. I've been cleaning up the mess I made earlier. I've been doing all sorts of stuff. I've made sauces. I've probably come back out here twice to put wood on the fire. And that was it. So we all have lives. This thing's freaking awesome. So I've been able to walk around probably a good 50, 60 feet away, inside, outside. I haven't had to sit right next to the pit just to manage a fire. I'll leave you guys the link to this in my description. I think I got it for about 70, 80 bucks. Well worth it to save me time from sitting right next to the fire. All right. It's just one of those affiliate links. There's no extra cost to you guys. I get a little bit out of it. Helps the channel. So if you guys want one, check it out. It'll be below or in the link below. All right. All right. So it's nice and sunny. It's gotten a little warm, so I've taken off the jacket. We're probably about 3 hours in. So let's take a look. Get a temp reading here. Ooh, those are looking good. Ignore this. If you guys want to see what I'm doing over here, I'll do a cook of this another time. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to see what this is. So, all right, we're looking at. All right, that's the alarm. I'll talk more about that later. We're looking at 168 in the fat part for that one. And 153 in the front. 160. And I'm temping right in between the ribs as much as I can. And 180 there. All right, so with those readings, I'm going to go ahead and rotate these. So I don't know if you guys have heard of the 3-2-1 ribs, but basically it's smoke them for 3 hours and then wrap them for 2, let them rest for 1. That's kind of the common cook style or cook method. I'm not a big fan of those. You end up with these super fall off the bone, no bite at all to them. It's basically, it almost tastes like they're boiled ribs. Not a big fan of them. I like a little bit of chew, not to the point where you have to rip them off the bone, but at least bite into the meat, and then you'll give a nice clean bite to it. I'm not a big fan of the 3-2-1 ribs, so I'm gonna try to cook it all the way through with really not much of a wrap at all, if any. So I'm gonna leave those in. I'm gonna pull them off when they temp out at right around 190. So I'm looking at maybe another half an hour. I'm gonna check on them again. If you want to baste them, I would baste them right around 190, 195. Baste them, let them tack up with the sauce for 5-10 minutes. All right, so it's been about 10-15 minutes. Let's temp them again. And we are looking right around 185. 190 right in between the bones. So let's take a look at this one also. Now we're looking right around the same, 185, 190. So just make sure when you do take a temp, you're in the meat section right between the bones. Try not to hit the bones. So I'm gonna glaze one of them with kind of an Asian-ish sauce. I did equal parts honey, equal parts honey, oyster sauce, and some 5-spice. And the other one I'm just gonna leave alone. And I'm not the one that I'm glazing. I'm just gonna glaze the top side. Make sure that that one gets nice and tacky. Don't need too much, just nice thin layer is good. Just keep in mind, oyster sauce is pretty salty, so you don't need too much of it, especially since you already did put some salt on the meat itself. Make sure you got nice even coverage. Get all your edges. All right, so at this point, I'm actually gonna toss another log on there. Just crank the heat up. I'm probably gonna get it anywhere between 275, 300, even 325. Let it go for about another 10, 15 minutes. Let that really caramelize, just because that honey, it's a get a nice little char to it. All right. So I'm gonna throw maybe even 2 logs on there. Just really crank up the heat. I'm probably actually gonna pull off the one that doesn't have the glaze, so that one doesn't burn. But I will be back in about 15 minutes probably. All right. So the ribs just came off the smoker. I'm gonna let it rest for a few minutes. I really don't want to, but I should. Um, Knowing the way that my smoker works, I actually threw the upper rack in there. So the upper section of the smoker, just because the heat rises, it gets just blazing hot in there. So the bottom rack was sitting at, I think it was 275. The upper section was at about 400. So got it up there within maybe like 2 minutes. It was starting to caramelize. It was starting to bubble. So yeah, that there should be some nice crispy bits in here. So I'm gonna let it rest for a bit, and then we'll be back to start cutting this up and seeing how it tastes. All right, we're back. So one of these bones kind of starting to pull away, but never mind that. Still some bubbling going on here, but oh, this is gonna be good. So some of the bones started pulling off. Oh yeah, let's cut right into the middle of this here. So again, I'm not looking for it to completely just fall off the bone. I want a little bit of chew to it. If I can figure out where this bone is. Of course it curves off to the side. Oh yeah, that's still nice and juicy. Ooh. Oh man, that's hot. I'm gonna suffer through it. Oh yeah, still nice and juicy. Again, that's been in there. I want to say it's been about 3.5, 4 hours total. Just straight smoke. Look at that smoke ring. It's nearly nearly smoked all the way through. So the meat can pretty much come apart, but yeah, let's take a bite. Mm, mm, mm. So again, little bit of a bite required. Not a whole lot, but that's a very clean bone. Mm. Oh man. So that sauce gives it some saltiness, sweetness. That black pepper on the rub. Oh man, that's some good stuff. Mm. Yeah, yeah, clean bone, but don't don't do the 3-2-1 ribs where you smoke it for 3 hours, wrap it for two. You're basically steaming the ribs to the point where the meat completely falls off. It's horrible. This, you've still got some bite to it. The ribs are freaking amazing. Oh, mm, mm-hmm, mm. All right. So I'll leave the recipe down below for the sauce. But again, you're basically going for temperature. Forget about the time. You're looking for the temperature of the meat. Um, these were pretty much smoked until about 190, 195, glazed. Get it for about another 10 minutes, let it tack up, and you're done. All right. Overall, it was about 3.5 to 4 hours. Amazing ribs. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. Another thing I need help from you guys. I've had this smoker for about 3 weeks now. I need a name for it. So drop a comment. Let me know what you think I should name it. I have no idea what I want to name it yet. So I need some help. All right. I will see you guys later. Peace.